In light of all the cool gadgets announced at this year's CES, we're going to talk about camera gear, specifically what's in my camera bag. Okay folks, here we go. So what you see before me is the Think Tank Airport Essentials backpack. I absolutely love this thing because of how small it is, but also of how much gear it can pack into this small, perfectly sized backpack. So let's just start with the front. Here in the front flap, it's where you hold that's where I hold my MacBook Pro 15-inch Retina display. There we go. Really nothing much to see here. Little pockets for like my field notes, to write notes in the field. Some cables here, like a lightning cable and whatnot. You can put business cards in here, keys, whatever you want. That's just accessory stuff. Oh, and that's a cool little flap over here. This is where you can put an iPad or documents right here in the second sleeve. And so right off the bat, you got a lot of cool compartments. Okay, in you go. Let's stow that away. Now on to the main event. Okay, here we go. And, oh, wait a minute. Huh, that's not normal. Okay, while I worry about that later, let's just get to the goods. Well, look at that. Now that is what I call an organized backpack. Okay, let's start off over here, and we're gonna start with my workhorse camera, which is the Sony a7R III with a Sigma MC11 adapter and Sigma 35 1.4 art lens. Basically, it's the a6500 on steroids. It is an incredible full frame 4K beast. Not only does it take incredible pictures at 42 megapixels, but the 4K on this in slow motion is just so sweet. The reason why I got this camera is because I do a lot of film and photography, and so having a camera that does each well was something I've been looking for, and the Sony a7R III was the camera for me, and I absolutely love it. And so attached to the camera is the Sigma MC11 adapter, as well as the Sigma 35mm 1.4 art lens, and you're probably asking, why don't I have a native Sony lens like 2470 G Master? Well folks, the reason is quite simple. I just don't have the money to buy that lens yet. The Sigma 35mm was from when I used to shoot Canon, and this is pretty much the only EF mount full frame lens that I have. And so instead of shelling out 2,000 bucks for a 2470, I just bought this guy for a couple $100. Pair that with an art lens, and boom, ka-choo, kabow, you got a sweet combo. The cool thing about this camera is that you have crop mode. So not only are you shooting on a 35mm lens, but if you go into crop mode, the camera will zoom in on the sensor and will turn the 35mm focal length into a 52mm focal length. So really, it kind of gives me two lenses in one. Love, love, love this camera, workhorse. And that's where it sleeps, right over there. Okay, if we go to the top is my trusty Sony a6500 camera attached with the Sony 18-105 lens. Now this combo is pretty sweet because the focal range of this lens is pretty wide. You're going from 18 to 105. And the beauty about this lens is that the barrel doesn't go out. And so this is perfect for setting on a glide cam or a gimbal, and you can change different focal lengths without having to rebalance on the gimbal or glide cam. Not the sharpest lens, but really versatile. And so I have that bad boy over here. Right over here is the Sony 10-18 wide-angle lens. Now, pairing this lens with the Sony a6500 gives me a super wide cinematic shot, which is perfect for travel and perfect for vlogging. I didn't mention it before, but this lens, the 18-105, has optical steady shot, and so does this lens. And so combined with the in-body image stabilization of the Sony a6500, you get to film a lot more smoother shots than a lens that doesn't have image stabilization. Not the sharpest lens, especially in the corners. There is a bit of distortion, but if you do a lot of vlogs and you have the Sony a6500, then the 10-18 is a lens that you must get. Down over here is my absolute favorite E-mount lens for the Sony a6500, and that is the Sigma 30mm 1.4 DC-DN lens. Now, if you've seen my videos in the past, I have raved about how incredible this lens is. In fact, 90% of all my content has been filmed with this lens. So if you have the Sony a6500 and you're looking for a fast prime lens, then I highly recommend the Sigma 30mm 1.4. And put that right over there. I just realized that I have a whole section dedicated to my a6500 setup. That's cool. By the way, even though that this is an APS-C camera body and this is a full frame camera body, the E-mount system is incredible because you can use E-mount APS-C lenses on a full frame body. It just automatically goes into crop mode, but still I get to use my old lenses with my new camera body. Thank you, Sony. What did this person mean by this? And how did they have time to put this in my backpack? Okay, moving on to the middle compartment. This here is my external hard drive by Lacey. It is a 2 terabyte Thunderbolt 2 hard drive. I absolutely love this hard drive and it's been so reliable. It is Thunderbolt 2. I have not gone to the Thunderbolt 3 route just yet. But the cool thing about this hard drive is that not only does it feature Thunderbolt 2, but you have a USB 3 connection. So if you don't have a Thunderbolt 2, but you do have a USB 3, then you can easily connect this hard drive with your computer. But honestly, the real reason why I got this is because I am so accident prone and I have dropped hard drives way too many times in the past. So I just needed a hard drive that can take a few hits and bumps. And so if you're a clumsy fool just like me, then I highly recommend the Lacey rugged hard drives. Right over here is my trusty Rode Videomic Pro. Now this is the old version. It's not even the version with the right coat system. I absolutely love this mic. It captures great audio. I love the size of it. I love that I can just pretty much pack that away nice and neat. So if you're looking for an external mic, then I highly recommend the Rode Videomic Pro. Right over here is a Think Tank AA battery holder, and so you don't have to have double A's in here. You can actually put any kind of battery, really, 9 volts, triple A's, whatever. But basically, I like having AA batteries around just in case I need it for something, so I kind of just keep that there. Right over here is my external monitor by Sony. Now, this monitor is pretty cool. It's touchscreen. It takes in a 4K input and has a 1080 display. You can see your audio levels, you can see your peak levels, you can zoom to focus, you can see your histogram. It's really lightweight, and I love using this with my Sony cameras, especially when you're filming outdoors, because let's face it, the screens on the Sony cameras are not really the best. Sorry, Sony, just telling you the truth. And so having an external monitor like the Sony, so helpful for run and gun filmmaking. By the way, all the items that you see here, I'm gonna place links to those products in the video description below, so you can go ahead and check that out. But moving on, we're gonna go down over here, and this is actually my Tiffin filters pouch. So here I got a couple of, well, I have a variable ND filter, I have a couple of step-up rings, and that's pretty much it. I do plan on getting more filters and polarizers and stuff like that, but having a pouch to contain all those items, very helpful. Look, I even have a mini one where I have a variable ND filter for my Sigma 30mm. Look how cute that is. Right over here in this little mystery pouch is really just an accessories pouch. This one is by Low Pro, and I think it's meant for like point and shoot cameras, but I've turned it into just like a miscellaneous pouch where I have hot shoe adapters, I got a USB charger, I got lens caps and other miscellaneous things. It may not seem like an important thing to have, but man, I love being organized, and this keeps me organized. Moving on, I have your rocket blower. Well, that's a lie, it's not an official rocket blower, but does the same thing. Helps blow away dust from your lenses or your sensor, or just good to relieve any stress. Right over here, I have a lens pen that is self-explanatory, and right down in the bottom is some gaff tape. Now, folks, if you don't have gaff tape, you must have gaff tape. This is such a crucial thing for filmmaking and photography. Basically, you can just tape pretty much anything, and it doesn't leave residue on the surface. It's pretty strong and so versatile. In fact, even if you're not a filmmaker, everyone has to have gaff tape. It's just cool. Okay, put that guy right over here. The next two compartments, nothing too fancy, just a charger and the cable for the charger for the Sony a7R III. We got a travel charger to charge the battery for the monitor, which is a Sony NP F750 battery. And then lastly, I have the battery charger for the Sony a6500. Like I said, nothing too fancy. So we'll just stow you away right over there. This little compartment houses my Zoom H1. This is my primary audio recorder for when I do my videos. Whether I'm attaching it to the Rode Videomic Pro or to a Lavalier, I absolutely love this thing. Plus, this thing is so good for capturing Foley and background audio. So if you're filming in a river and you want to use that audio of that river to put into your video, this device has built-in mics to record that audio. Behind the H1 is the Aspen Mics belt clip. This thing is really cool. I did a video on this a while ago. But basically, instead of putting this audio device in your pocket, which you totally can, you can actually clip it to your belt or your pocket so it doesn't feel weird in your pocket when you walk around. This little cable is important, but first I have to show you this. In addition to my Rode Videomic Pro, I also have a Rode Smartlav plus Lavalier that I use in tandem with the Zoom H1. Now this cable is important because it connects the two together. The Rode Smartlav Plus is meant for using on a mobile device, and you can see that because it has 3 little rings over here, where devices like the H1 has a stereo input, which takes in cables with 2 rings. So this little cable is the Rode TRRS to TRS adapter. Basically, it turns your 3-ring jack into a stereo jack, thus enabling recording on the Zoom H1. So there you go, that goes right over there. And this section over here is where I house the power adapter for my MacBook Pro. Nothing exciting, it just goes right over there. Moving on over here are the mesh pockets. On the top mesh pocket are just cables like an HDMI cable, USB cables, yada, yada, yada. Just easy access to grab them, so I keep them in the front. And down over here on the bottom mesh pocket, I've got my ThinkTank Pixel Pocket, and pretty much it's an SD card wallet where I can hold 9 SD cards, and it's amazing. I can just fold it up just like that. It even has like a little loop-de-loop where you can tie it to a zip or your toe if you have trust issues. And lastly, I have the ThinkTank DSLR battery holder. As you can tell, I love ThinkTank. They just make really useful and practical tools. Here I've got 4 batteries for the Sony a6500 because, well, the battery life on that camera isn't so good. And so I have to have 4 batteries for that camera, where on the Sony a7R III, that battery lasts all day. And that's pretty much it, folks. And so as you can see, I love this backpack. I mean, just look how well it organizes all my gear. Oh, hold on, there's more. Here on the front part of the backpack is an additional pocket for headphones or a multi-tool or business cards. And so this backpack does it all. I absolutely love this thing. And as you can tell, what? How does this keep appearing? Anyway, as you can see, really well organized, small enough to go on any airplane, big enough to hold a bunch of gear. Folks, this is my camera gear for 2018.
And that's it. Well, hopefully that was helpful to you guys, maybe giving you some insight into what kind of gear that you'd like to invest to this year. But if you have any other questions about filmmaking or camera gear, let me know in the comments below. And also, if you recognize the handwriting of that letter, if you can report that to the authorities, I'd really appreciate that. Other than that, have a great day, grab your camera, get out there, and tell some great stories. See ya.